Radio according to you.
Now, my people in Cape Town, I don't know. You guys, okay, not just Cape Town. Abantu base you guys are special, man. You guys really are special. You guys threw a party called The Queen is Dead. Espine Road, the Pagini, at 3 p.m. You guys are special. I love it. I love it for the expression. Whilst much of the world is mourning as Queen Elizabeth is laid to rest yesterday, a South African radical group will be celebrating her death with a party. Oh, guys. There's a Black People's National Crisis Committee announced the plans to host the Queen is Dead party on the day of her funeral. Early on Monday, a mass funeral service attended by world leaders took place at Westminster Abbey. Now, the public service would be followed by a private one at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. Now, taking aim at social media, the pro-Black activists revealed that they would be accompanying and celebrating Queen Elizabeth's funeral. Accompanying poster, the organization said, "We do not mourn the death of a colonizer, we celebrate." Yay, ni strong, man. They added in another poster, BPNCC welcomes the long overdue death of the colonial queen extraordinaire Elizabeth, who will be slaughtering a sheep to accompany her to hell. Now, according to the poster, the anti-queen party will take place on Monday afternoon at Shisanyama hotspot kwa Ace Epaki in Kailicha. Last year, the group also hosted a party following the death of former SA President F.W. de Klerk. In 2018, the group also slaughtered a sheep on a Clifton beach following a racially motivated incident that took place. Cape Town, you guys are miles ahead of the world. I don't know where you guys get it from, but hey, whatever it is, I know you guys are special. 10 points for creativity, nevertheless. Still, the former finance minister of South Africa, Tito Mboweni, is getting a lot of practice in the kitchen now that he is no longer tending to the country's financial troubles. Despite all of the free time, he seemingly always fails to impress his followers, who frequently take time out of their busy days to share criticism with the ex-minister about his meals, which he frequently shares on his Twitter page. It appears he's doing something right these days after his latest meal got quite a few compliments from the tweeps. Tito Mboweni never seems to win when it comes to making meals. The former minister is always getting roasted by Twitter users, often poking fun at his love for garlic and tinned fish. This time, however, he managed to rake in quite a few compliments after he shared some of his beef stew. Taking to Twitter on Sunday this evening, captioned, "Today I decided to do things my way. Beef stew a la Mbowana." Many people quickly rushed to comment section to their usual batch of criticism. Some, however, thought that Tito was actually making progress with his cooking and shared some great compliments with him. Others have questioned how he was cooking during load shedding. Okay. Tsepang said, "You have improved your cooking skills." Maite Bokholo said, though the rice is sitting outside oil, but you are coming. And then TC said, "I'm seeing a little improvement now, and I'd like for you to chop your veggies much smaller. Also, stop eating so late." South Africa, you guys are a special batch of people that I would never even think of abandoning for anything else. Into the Ukraine, the Wagner Group, a Russian private paramilitary organization, has not been entirely successful in its efforts to recruit 1,500 prisoners, with many who are refusing to join, a senior U.S. defense official said on Monday. Our information indicates that the Wagner Group has been suffering high losses in the Ukraine, especially and unsurprisingly among young and inexperienced fighters, the officials told reporters, speaking on the condition of anonymity. Now, the European Union has imposed sanctions on the Wagner Group, accusing it of operating surreptitiously on Moscow's behalf. Now, President Vladimir Putin has said that the group does not represent the Russian state, but that the private military contractors have the right to work anywhere in the world as long as they do not break Russian law. The U.S. official pointed to recent social media videos which appeared to show Yevgeny Prigozhin, to whom the U.S. Treasury Department and the EU have said to have Wagner Group is linked, trying to recruit convicts. The video appeared to show Prigozhin attempting to recruit Russian prisoners as well as Tajiks, Belarusians, and Armenians. Reuters has not independently verified the social media video, although the BBC confirms that it was the Wagner Group leader nevertheless. Even, you know, it's bad when even the prisoners don't want the job. Like, I'll stay in jail, dog. Nah, I'm not Gandhizi. That's when you know it's bad. The Queen's actress Zinande Mfenyana, who plays Goodness Mabuza in the canned television or telenovela, was told by Peeps to do some self-introspection. Tweeps dragged the Queen actress Zinande Mfenyana after she took to Twitter to complain that people hate her and she's used to it. In a since deleted tweet, she tweeted, "I've grown so accustomed to being hated, I don't know how to receive love anymore." Mfenyana's tweet only opened a can of worms, as Tweeps didn't sympathize with her, but instead told her to get off her high horse. The actress, who's known for blocking people left, right, and center, is dubbed by Tweeps as one of the most hated celebrities in Mzansi due to her horrible attitude towards her fans and some of her industry friends. Umbalingobo said about her, "I met you once. It was more than enough. I loved you from Generations character. You stayed in a hotel I worked for quite some time with the cast. One day, life opened and there you were. While I was starstruck and you said, 'Are you gonna get it or not?' Yo." And then Untabi said, "The fact that she's hiding replies means she's still in denial about her behavior." And then Ui Mapetla says, "I'll make a reference. As a young budding journalist, I so badly wanted to interview and interact with her. I remember seeing her in an old Afrikaans movie and just wanted to ask what that experience was like for her. Homegirl dragged me on Twitter just for even asking." Yikes. Zenande, what's going on? Huh? This doesn't sound like an isolated incident after all, huh? Anyway, Mzansi, get yourself ready for a triple dose of bad news. South Africans are in for a dire next few days and weeks with 3 major doses that can only be described as more crippling news. Are you ready for this? As load shedding intensifies, unions are threatening to shut down industries and the Reserve Bank is set to hike the interest rates. The country is gearing up for what could be unprecedented levels of load shedding this week after failures at numerous power stations this past weekend forced power utility Eskom to implement stage 6 load shedding. Economists at the Bureau for Economic Research said on Monday, the 19th of September, that power failures, along with a round of 7,200 megawatts of capacity being taken offline for planned maintenance, means that half of Eskom's total generation capacity was offline. According to Business Tech, in addition, the National Union of Metal Workers announced that it expects to strike certificate to be issued this week, which will have a huge impact on the automotive sector if it proceeds. NUMSA is demanding a 12% wage increase from employers in the motor sector who have offered increases between 3 and 4%. So, what does this all mean? Finally, markets, economists, and analysts will be looking to central banks this week for the next moves on the interest rates, with the South African Reserve Bank expected to follow the global trend by hiking rates again. Expectations are for 75 basis points interest rate hike on Thursday, the 22nd of September, though BER said it wouldn't be surprised if a 100 base points move is mentioned by the Monetary Policy Committee, that is the MPC. So that's our story, Mzansi, and I guess we are sticking to it, huh? It's a tough one. Siyabonga Zizi Matilo. He says, keep up the good work. Thank you. We do it because you are there with us, and for you, we are eternally grateful. Illegal miners arrived at their heavy excavation machinery and started digging around a Limpopo woman's yard, leaving trenches, deep trenches everywhere. Now, the woman from Bukhalatadi, a village in Limpopo's mineral-rich Sekhukhune district, is among many residents who are suffering at the hands of illegal mining across the province and whose properties have been damaged. As residents await the results of an oversight visit from the parliamentary committees of Police, Mineral Resources and Energy, and Home Affairs, the fear of being surrounded by heavily armed Zamazamas who continue to destroy the environment still lingers. At least 59 arrests of illegal miners were reported and by the provincial hawks in the past month, while equipment including TLBs was seized. When police arrived, the illegal operations seemed to have ceased due to police presence recently, but the destruction left behind and some of the TLBs could be seen. Mounds of sand and deep holes can be seen dangerously close to people's houses. The woman who asked not to be named out of fear of being targeted said she was surprised when strange men arrived with TLBs and started mining for chrome. We didn't even ask questions because these men are dangerous. We stay in our homes, close our doors, but my worry is that our house will collapse. Imagine that being your reality. Can you imagine that being your reality? Somebody digging with a TLB in your front yard or in your backyard or next to your house, next to your foundation, and you can't even say anything because these are dangerous people who may or may not do something to harm you if you actually raise awareness to the fact that they are illegally destroying your property. This is what's happening. Zamas are ruling the world, and apparently it's not isolated. So this is something that people have to look into, and the police need to make a quicker transition into how they're going to deal with this. This is not something that people can hang around for. It's 29 minutes now before 10 a.m. The country is in the grip of a range of crises that need to be resolved if democracy is to be salvaged and our people are to be rescued from hunger. Continued violence and range of other ills that compromise their basic needs. The ANC-led government caused these problems. They consequently cannot be looked to for their resolution. This is the opinion of some South Africans. South Africa is currently experiencing an all-round crisis of governance, manifested in widespread illegality, violence, corruption, failure to perform duties that are required by law and constitution, hold a specific office of performing these duties in a way that is incompatible with what is legally required. The areas where these failures can be observed cover all facets of South African life, but notably illegal evictions from homes, and police and other officials often reported to have stolen possessions of those evicted. Murders of people who address the question of homelessness, notably Abahlali baseMjondolo, the shack dwellers movement. 24 of those leaders have been assassinated with very little, if any, police investigation on any of the official state comments. Lack of provision of basic needs like water, and healthcare of uneven quality and often inaccessible to many. And the right to basic healthcare is described by many medical practitioners as being in a crisis. So there's a lot happening. Mzansi, there's a lot. And Tinage, we have found a way to deal with much of this as how an ostrich would just stick its head in the sand, but we cannot do that anymore because we are at crisis mode with many of these situations. I mean, Eskom implemented stage 6 load shedding shortly after 4 a.m. on Sunday morning, leaving South Africans furious and demanding change. On Sunday morning, Eskom held a media briefing on what the power utility intends to do to solve the load shedding crisis. Eskom CEO Andre de Ruyter said during the virtual briefing that the system had been under pressure for the past week, which has caused the company to use its reserves as well as diesel. He says we are now at a situation where we need to urgently replenish those reserves in order to maintain an adequate safety buffer as we are required to do by the grid code. We are planning to bring back 1,590 megawatts by this evening's peak and then a further 3,500 megawatts by Monday evening, he said. However, he added that not all of the energy will make its way smoothly onto the grid due to the age and condition of the units. Tackling the liquidity, De Ruyter said it is a fact that the liquidity to buy diesel is an issue. In the past 5 months of the financial year, we have already burned through our 7.7 billion rand worth of diesel, which is about a budget for the whole year. Now, Eskom said its chief financial officer, Khalib Kasim, has made available an additional 500 million rand to purchase more diesel. What took us into stage 6 was the fact that Creel Unit 2 tripped in the morning, and the chief operating officer, Jan Oberholzer, consulted with the system operator, phoned them just after that moment, and by 4:19, they had taken a decision that stage 6 was regrettably unavoidable. Since then, they have seen Kusile unit coming back from the submerged scraper chain fail. That has been repaired. The unit is ramping up as they speak, and the director said, adding that the unit's recovery can make a big difference. Part of the reason why we have the generation capacity constraints is that we have a challenge at Koeberg Unit 2 with the reactor headgear. This is a mechanical failure that we need to fix in order to operate the plant safely. On the topic of possible sabotage, the director has said that it's not seen any evidence of sabotage or untoward activity. So what are the steps that Eskom has taken? On Saturday, Eskom had an urgent board meeting with Pravin Gordhan in attendance with the meeting when they discussed further steps that will be taken. On Monday, Eskom said it planned to approach the market for procure whatever megawatts are available on an urgent basis. The rater said that they were on the power utility and can procure 1,000 megawatts from available generation capacity. Until more megawatts can be procured, Eskom has urged all South Africans to use electricity sparingly. In politics, because you know we love us some of those. In politics, we have seen a lot happening, but the divisions are becoming clear, or maybe the lines that were blurred are now becoming far more clear. KwaZulu-Natal branches and the governing ANC have entered the final week of the nomination period more divided than ever. ANC branches in KwaZulu-Natal are split between those supporting Cogta Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, former Health Ministers Dr. Zweli Mkhize, and those in favor of President Cyril Ramaphosa retaining the leadership of the party. A total of 4,250 voting delegates are expected to participate and vote at the ANC's December elective conference. KwaZulu-Natal, which has a total membership of 136,267, will send the biggest delegation to the conference, 877 delegates, followed by the Eastern Cape with 684 delegates and Limpopo with 613. The Northern Cape will only have 239 delegates and the Western Cape 283. Now, the EC, the Northern Cape, the Gauteng, Limpopo, and Mpumalanga have already endorsed Ramaphosa to retain his position. KwaZulu-Natal, Western Cape, Northwest, and Free State are yet to declare their favorites for the top position. While the newly elected Northwest ANC leader, Nono Maloyi, has indicated that he prefers Ramaphosa to retain his position, his provincial executive committee has not pronounced on the matter yet. This should be making for a very, very interesting final touchdown when this all hits the fan. So, why were African leaders bussed to Queen Elizabeth II's funeral? Several photos have surfaced on social media showing African heads of state, including Kenya's President William Ruto and Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu, being transported to the venue of Queen Elizabeth's burial at Westminster Abbey. While all foreign dignitaries were transported by a fleet of buses, U.S. President Joe Biden and his wife Jill were allowed to travel to Queen Elizabeth's service on Monday, September 19th, in an armored presidential limousine, the Beast. As the funeral leads trends across social media platforms with the hashtag Queen's Funeral, it appears that many social media users are not happy about this arrangement, which was what announced days ahead of the funeral. People are saying, Kenya's former Kenyan governor, Mike Sonko, responded to saying these foreigners lack manners. How can they keep African presidents in one bus? But God forbid something happen on that bus. What will happen? Very dangerous assumptions, those. Very, very, very. Others were, however, of a different opinion. He said, this is not about the UK. The US won't let their president ride on the bus. Interpol won't, FBI won't, they just won't allow it. Whether we like it or not, the USA president is no ordinary president. He's the president of the most powerful nation in the world. His security will be much higher. Why do Africans like comparison? Yes, and Biden is a greater ad than every African president. Yikes. The priceless smiles on their faces, so happy to be invited, ridiculed, and humiliated regardless. Oh, man. Now, according to the UK's Express News portal, the White House demanded that Biden travel via a 6-car motorcade for security reasons. Their request was granted by UK officials, hence the development. The publication further claimed that the rest of the guests were transported in buses to ease traffic congestion. However, according to reports, Biden was not the only one excluded from the VIP bus ride. Others included royal families from the European countries. Interessant, Baie interessant. With that, we'll leave it at that. Thank you, and stay tuned. There's more music, there's a lot more content, and there will be enough time for us to do it all together right here on Moment of Truth. Good morning.
This